but I've heard that this next show you're going to talk about this is good.
Okay, so Cobra Kai is good.
Okay.
It is not perfect by any means.
Isn't it produced by, or is it Sony the production?
Like the production company?
Yeah.
I think recently, so it got picked up by Netflix, I think after season 2. It started out as a YouTube Red series. So you can really tell in the first season, I mean, it's very low budget. The strengths come from the character writing for the most part, I would say, and the comedy. And it, unlike a lot of other things, respects the lore of what came before it.
Right.
Pokes fun at it where it needs to, but is also respectful in the places that it needs to.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't go too far into all of the like, oh, this is like a bunch of Zoomers doing karate now. Johnny, the main character, is great. He's probably one of the best things about the show, which is something you want from your main character. He's hilarious. He's kind of like stuck in the past, which makes him very politically incorrect, which is weirdly a breath of fresh air nowadays. Literally, there's one part in the new season where this girl goes, how do you feel about like gender fluid people? And he goes, at Eagle Fang, which is his new like karate thing, we drink lots of fluids, don't worry. So it's stuff like that. This one girl asks like something along the lines of like what his pronouns are, or like something about pronouns, and he goes, the only pronouns that you need in this JoJo are yes and sensei. So it's stuff like that, and he is a breath of fresh air from most other shows
Right.
that are on TV right now. The episodes are relatively short. You can get through them pretty quick. And again, it's really about the characters more than it is about the story, because some of the stuff, it's a little... you really have to put on the suspension of disbelief at moments in the show. It's like these kids are basically in karate gangs, and the police are almost nowhere to be found. There's like a big fight, I think at the end of season 3, where this one girl breaks into another girl's house with her gang of karate people, and so they have this giant karate gang fight in the last episode. And then in the new season, the girl's mother that lived in that house, she basically is like, no, we can't call the police on them because it would be bad for our car dealership business. And you're like, what?
Right.
But to some degree, it's like you put that stuff aside because it is a lot of fun. And the kind of like through line of it being about these kids and the drama that's going on with them, and the drama that's going on with like the adults and how that's affecting the kids, and then the tournaments and stuff like that. It's cool. It's got a very diverse and very interesting cast, and it's not all based on skin color. Everyone comes from like different backgrounds. Some of the kids are rich, some of the kids are poor, some of the kids are nerds, some of the kids were nerds and they become bullies and then come back from that. Like there's actual character arcs for a lot of them. And again, that's something else that's very surprising in modern television. Usually it's just like like we've talked about with Witcher in the past, where it's like, this is Yennefer wants power. That's it. That's all you get. You're like, I don't know anything about her. Whereas with some of these kids, you've followed them through these trials. Like one of the kids, Hawk, who is the one that comes to mind most. He started out as a nerd. He has like he had like a cleft palate or whatever, so he has a scar on his lip. He got into Cobra Kai, turned into a bully, started dating one of the best looking girls in school. His life falls apart at one point because he becomes too much of a bully. Eventually, he and his like best friend fall apart, and then at this point, like they've rekindled. He's kind of become a good guy, and he has like a really great moment at the end of this most recent season.
I know who I am now. And who's that? The guy's doing this whole fucking thing.
And so it's like his arc has come a really long way from the beginning of season 1.
Right.
And you just, like I was saying, you don't see that very often anymore. So really, really happy with that show.
Nice.
It's it's worth the watch. I mean, you have to kind of go into it understanding that it's a little campy. It is not a serious show almost at all, but it has serious moments, and sometimes it takes it a little too far. A lot of people have problems with the way they ended season 2, because again, it's like kind of this show about karate gangs.
Yeah,
but I think people really love it. I think people are just happy that it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's not trying to preach at people, and you don't get a lot of that nowadays. But it's also good. It's not like something like the Tomorrow War, where it comes out and you're just surprised that
it's not woke.
That it's not woke, essentially. Yeah, that it's not preaching at you all the time. Which you don't get. Oh man,
I was never a huge fan of the Karate Kid movies.
That's fair.
Nor that's why I didn't have any interest in watching this either. Even though I've heard that every season has been good.
I think you can go into it not knowing a lot and still be okay, because they do a pretty good job of explaining where the characters came from. Like you'll get an idea of like, oh,
I've seen the Karate Kid movies. I just was never like, oh.
See, I really like the first one. I really like the first one and just don't care about the rest of them for the most part.
I do like Mr. Miyagi. Who doesn't?
Yeah. So yeah, that's
You're not American if you don't like Mr. Miyagi.
That's season 4 of Cobra Kai. Highly recommended. If you haven't watched it at all, you can probably binge all 4 seasons in a week, depending on who you are. They're not long. I think this most recent season they get a little bit longer. But for the most part, it's not bad, man. It's not bad.
Nice.